Hi, boys and girls. Thank you for joining me for science today. And last week we talked all about living things and how living things grow and change, how they breathe, how they eat, how they reproduce or make a copy of themselves. But they do all those things in different ways. And we said that living things are animals and living things are plants. So the plants that you see outside, like the trees and flowers and grass, those are living things, okay? And living things like plants have certain things that they need. And we're going to talk about 4 things that plants need to be able to be alive and grow and change, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to be reading our little article about the needs of a seed. And I'm going to zoom in on our article so that you can see it a little bit better. And then we're going to zoom back out because you're going to have a piece of paper or your journal and your crayons or pencils ready because we're going to be drawing and labeling the 4 things that we learn about that a seed needs in order to grow. Okay? So if you don't have your paper or journal, pencils and crayons ready, then you can always pause it, go grab those things and come on back because after we read, we're going to make a little chart together about the 4 things a plant needs. So here we go and listen for those 4 things so that you know what a plant's going to need. This is a Scholastic News weekly reader called Needs of a Seed. Down here, there's a big question mark made out of seeds. They must be wondering, what does a seed need? Let's read down here. Seeds sit in the soil. The sun shines all about. There's one more thing those seeds will need if they're going to sprout. Sprout means to grow, the first part that pops out of the soil. What is it? Let's open to our next page and see. This part says, ready, set, grow. Most plants need 4 things to grow. Now, they said most plants. There are some plants that don't need all of these things, and we'll talk about those a little bit later, okay? But most plants need 4 things to grow. Plants need water. A plant will dry up and die without water. So what is one thing a plant needs? If you said water, you're correct. Keep that in your brain. Plants need sunlight. The leaves soak up the sunlight. They use the sunlight to make food for the plant. This way of making food is called photosynthesis. I remember we talked about that in our lesson last week, and we used that big word called photosynthesis. That just means that the plants can make food inside their leaves. Can you say photosynthesis? Okay, so what do they need in order to do that photosynthesis? Did you hear what they started off telling us? Let's go back and read it one more time in case you missed it. Plants need sunlight. The leaves soak up the sunlight. They use the sunlight to make food for the plant. This way of making food is called photosynthesis. And they need sunlight. Put it in your brain because we'll add it to our chart. Most plants can't grow without soil. Soil has nutrients that are good for plants. So what do most plants need? We heard water, sunlight, and now soil. And soil is just another word for dirt. So the dirt outside, the dirt that she's planting it in is called soil. Okay? And did you notice that they said most plants can't grow without soil? Did you know that there are some plants called air plants that don't need soil to grow? That is pretty cool. But most plants are going to need soil to grow. Let's read on. So we've got 3 things so far: water, sunlight, and soil. Plants also need space to grow. If a plant's space is small, the plant will stay small. A big plant needs lots of room. So let's think about that. When they say space, they don't mean like outer space that we were learning about in our classroom. They mean space or room to grow. If a plant doesn't have enough space, it will not grow really big. It will either stay small, or sometimes if there's not enough space, that plant will die. So they need room. Little plants need a little bit of room. Big plants like trees need a lot of room to grow. Okay? And then over here, they have a special section about that special kind of plant that we read about last week, or that I told you about last week. Now we're going to read quickly about it. And then we're going to make our chart. So keep those 4 things in your brain. Hungry, hungry plant. This is a Venus flytrap. The soil where it lives does not have many nutrients. Remember, those were the good things in the soil that help the plant to grow. That's what they eat. The flytrap needs more than just water, sunlight, soil, and space. It needs flies too. So this special kind of plant also needs flies, insects. It says number 1, the leaves of the plant are open. A fly is near. I see him. 2, the fly lands on the plant. The leaves begin to close over the fly. Uh-oh, there he is, stuck inside there. The leaves close tightly. The fly can't get out. The plant turns the fly into liquid. Ew, gross. It soaks up the fly. The plant gets the nutrients it needs. Now I noticed I said, ew, gross, because that sounds like a gross meal for me. But to a Venus flytrap, that is very yummy food. So different living things eat different things, just like we talked about last week. So that was pretty cool. So a Venus flytrap needs more than just those 4 things. It needs flies too. But let's go to our paper. And if you have your paper out and ready, then you're ready to go with us. And we're going to zoom into our chart so we can see it a little closer. And if you are ready with your paper, then we can get started. If you're not ready with your paper, then push the pause button and you can go and get it. Okay, on your paper, take your pencil and find the middle of your paper, right down the middle. So there's space here and there's space here. Go ahead and draw a line right down the middle. Okay. All right, now you have 2 spaces, but how many things did we say a plant needs? I remember they told us 4 things. So we're going to make those 2 spaces into 4 by finding the middle, and we're going to draw a line this way this time. So find the middle and go this way across your paper. Okay, so now you have 4 good spaces. Now in the first space, we talked about how a plant needs something. What do you put your seed into? What do you plant your seed in? They had a special name for it. They called it soil. You might call it soil or dirt. So go ahead and write a number 1, and I'm going to put a little circle around it. And then I'm going to draw my soil. And I might put some little dots on it. I just have a black marker out for mine. If you want to do yours with brown or black, you go right ahead. Or if you want to draw it with a pencil and then color it in later, that's up to you. but I'm going to do mine with my black crayon that I have, or marker that I have out. Okay, so I drew my soil, and I'm going to label soil. And if I'm not sure how to spell that, I can go back to our story, and I know that it was right here in my story. S-O-I-L, soil. So I'm going to label that. Go ahead and label your soil with me. S-O-I-L. Okay, soil. Okay, and you might even want to draw a little seed planted in your soil. You want to draw a little seed in there, go right ahead. And at any time, if I'm going too fast for you, you can always hit that pause button, those two lines that look like the number 11, and stop it for a moment while you draw. Okay? Now we're going to scoot over to the next box, and we're going to put a number 2 in your new box. Okay? So now we have our seed that's planted in that soil. What do we need to add to that soil to help it grow? We need to do something, or Mother Nature needs to do something. Do you know what that is? If you said water the seed, you are correct. You need water. So I might draw, you can draw yourself with a watering can watering that seed, or I might draw my soil again and my little seed down there. You don't have to draw it just like mine, but I'm going to draw my seed in there, and then I'm going to draw some rain clouds. And you might want to draw you watering it, or you could draw rain clouds. And I'm going to draw those little drops of water coming out of my rain clouds. Okay, go ahead and take your time drawing your water. It can be rainwater or water that you are putting on those plants. I know right now I have to go outside and water my plants because there has not been a lot of rain lately. Okay, so I drew my water, and now I'm going to label the word water. Okay, because my seed needs water. Go ahead and label it with me. If you need more time, just push pause. W-A-T-E-R, water. My seeds will need water to grow. Okay, and we'll go on to number 3. Again, if you need time, just push pause and then come back to it. Now in our next box down here, I'm going to put the number 3. Make sure that 3 is going in the right direction. I know sometimes we get our 3s backwards. So check to see if it's going in the right direction. Okay, and on my paper, again, I'm going to draw a quick ground with the soil, and I'm going to show that little seed, and I might even show that little seed starting to grow out of the ground because it has that soil, it has that water. It's starting to grow. It's a little sprout. Okay, and what else does that sprout need? I know that it does that photosynthesis where it makes its own food in its leaves. But what did they say it needs in order to make food? Soil, water, and you said sunlight. You are right. I'm going to draw that sun. We have plenty of that here in Florida. Our plants get lots and lots of sun. Sometimes they even get a little too much sun and they might get dry. Okay, and I'm going to label the word sun, and I might label it right on my sun because I have a nice big space. If you want, you can label it over here or on there. I'm going to sound it out. Un. That's a quick one. 3 letters, 3 sounds. Okay, if you need more time, push that pause button. If not, let's go on to number 4. Write that number 4. Make sure it's going in the right direction. Okay. And now, what was the last thing that we talked about? What else did that plant need? They said if it's big, it needs more of this. If it's small, it doesn't need as much. What did they say our plants needed? Do you remember them saying they needed space to grow? So that means that when I plant seeds in the ground, and I'm going to show my soil, we can't put all the seeds in one spot. We need to put a seed and then leave some space. Put another seed and then leave some space. And then another seed. Okay, we can't pour them all in the same spot or they won't grow, or maybe they'll grow and stay very, very small. Okay, that's also why you need to weed your garden and get all the weeds out of the garden, because sometimes those weeds take up the plant's space and stop it from growing, or they could even make it die because it doesn't have that space. And when you're planting something, you have to look to see on the package how much space that plant needs. Okay, let's put the word space, just like spider, S-P, A. Ooh, what's that letter? I hear an A. Space. It sounds like an S, but really, that's that tricky C. And I hear A. It has that long sound, so what do we need at the end? That bossy E, the word space. And I might point to the space here and the space right there. All right, boys and girls, thank you for making your chart with me of the 4 most important things that a plant needs to grow. Our soil, our water, our sun, and our space. Okay? Now, if you are interested, you can click on the little link below. There's this lesson and there's something else on here for science this week. And it's a long-term investigation. What that means is it's something that we're going to track over time. Kind of like when we had our grow creature, when we did it in the oil and the water, and every day we went back and we checked it and we measured to see how big or how small it was. Okay? And we talked about it and compared it. Well, since we're not in our own classroom to do a long-term investigation, what I figured I would do is me and Zoe are going to do it at our house, and we're going to show you the growth of a plant in our backyard. So it's just a quick little video. If you want to click on that and see what it's all about and see day 1 of our long-term investigation, go ahead and click on that link. And if you want to, you can even keep track in your journal, just like we would in our classroom, and put day 1 on a page and draw what you see on day 1. Tomorrow will be day 2, and we can see what happens on day 2 of our long-term investigation. All right, so if you're interested in doing that, click on the next link. Bye-bye.